I know you're gonna dig this.
Well, folks, impromptu on the one with G, number 3, 2016. We have a Detroit landmark. Just being introduced to this man. We've been conversing a little bit, but sir, please give us your name and what you are in the music industry.
Malcolm Maddox, Malcolm Maddox, and as far as music goes, I'm just a lover of the sounds and the grooves and also the logic behind it, the cerebral benefits of music.
Well, so it sounds like you're a musician. You play an instrument?
Yeah, I play bass, and I wouldn't say that I'm a bassist just yet. It's a process, but I've been playing for about 15 years.
It's not just a hobby, is it?
I would say it's a little more than that. It's a little more than a hobby. I mean, I don't play professionally. I've been in a couple of bands, but right now it's not something that pays the bills as much as it is something that provides me peace of mind.
Oh, no, Mr. Malcolm didn't tell me this then. What is your day job?
My day job, I'm a news anchor. News anchor and reporter in Detroit. I used to work here in Dayton.
Oh, this is a first.
Yeah.
We've got a news anchor in. Okay. I might as well throw these questions out the door then. We're going to go down a whole different kind of path. So tell me this then. Are you from Dayton? Where are you from?
No, I'm from Pittsburgh originally.
You're from Pittsburgh originally.
My mother and her family are from Dayton. They
Okay.
actually grew up on Krug Street, which is where the old McLean
Yes, sir.
Funeral Home is.
Right.
Yeah. She grew up right down the street with the mayor.
Yeah, the founder, yeah, she's one of our hosts on one of our shows. All right, now watch this. I want to see what you know about Dayton, Ohio and its funk history. So pretend like I don't know anything.
Okay.
And you know everything or what you believe to remember from back in the day. So give me a little history on the Dayton funk sound and maybe some of the groups that came from here if you can recollect them.
As I understand it, I just drove by 35 and I try to show my son that that's where that area was called Lakeside. And the group Lakeside hailed from that area. And I try to sing some Fantastic Voyage. I know I was off key, but he didn't know what I was talking about. We get our hair cut on West 3rd and, Roger Troutman, Zapp, sounds, from my childhood. I mean, that's the soundtrack of my childhood. Many of his songs, but then you also have the Ohio Players. That music, I got, I think the album Honey, and one other album at home. Heatwave, Always and Forever, and Boogie Nights. I know that those gentlemen, the two lead singers, I believe, are from Dayton. I think they were in the Air Force or in the military.
They were in the military.
Yeah, and they formed the band overseas, but the funk came from Dayton. Let's see. I know Shirley Murdoch was a product of Roger Troutman's label, so that's part of it. While I'm in Detroit, I try to tell people that Dayton per capita had as much talent as Detroit. I mean, the population in Detroit is so much bigger, and you've heard, and plus it was in Detroit also, it was all under one label.
Right.
It was all under Motown, but you have so many different acts, slaves that came from different, in such a small area. It's actually revolutionary that you would have so much talent in this small area. Not to mention the fact that GM and AC Delco, I mean, the connection, Charles Kettering and the electric ignition for Cadillac. I mean, the connections, I mean, they're there. It's in the DNA.
You were innovators.
Yeah.
And as you were saying, at one point in time, 8 out of 10 top 10 hits were actual groups that were signed to labels from Dayton, Ohio.
Yeah.
So yeah, the funk came from here. Well, I'm gonna go off track here because you sort of know something about the groups. Do you do something on the side musically that would give you some kind of background and/or education on just some of the groups that you were just mentioning?
Just the state of mind that can be induced by different types of music. I mean, if you're feeling happy, you can feel happier. If you're feeling sad, if you miss somebody, there's a connection that can be made. And growing up as I did, my father is a musician and music was part of our lives. So there's different things. Like I remember Bob James albums and George Benson's from Pittsburgh. So just hearing music. And as I got older and, to be able to share that to the next generation, my kids, I mean, they think the stuff I listen to is contemporary. But I don't know too many of the new acts. I mean, there's so much music that I have yet to even scratch the surface of. This from the 70s that basically is the blueprint for everything they're doing right now, from the 60s and the 70s.
Yes, so in your guesstimation or your understanding, what do you think funk music is?
I try to dissect it.
Yeah.
I bought drum machines and tried to figure it out, and it's got a feel that is not standard as it relates to the 1, 2, 3, 4. It's more.
It's funky.
I mean, it just is. It compels you to move. I mean, some music is just, it's going to get you to bob your head, and some music will get you to dance. But funk has got a hitch in it. It's got a.
It's an emotional experience.
Yeah. The timing is not as exact as like rock and roll or music from the 60s. That was kind of I don't want to say white bread, but it was just flat. It didn't have as much character. And when you start talking about funk, you have something that has a little more. I don't know if it's a 16th note or how it comes in, but it's not straightforward.
It's that bass and drums, syncopation between the two, and then everybody else joining in.
Yeah.
As we used to say back in the day, or James coined, on the one.
On the one.
All right, now tell me this then. Why hasn't funk music, or why wasn't it celebrated back in the day as much as it is today? Because as you know, a lot of the funk artists and a lot of our songs that we grew up on, they're sampling a lot of that music from the 70s currently today, not only in music, but in, TV IDs or commercials, you name it. So why do you think that is?
I think in life, you have the tendency to not appreciate the moment as you are living within that moment. And as you evolve and things change, you reminisce. The first radio station I worked for, they did the greatest hits of the 70s and 80s. We were in the 90s. But as you think about the music, I tell my daughter, she's 24, and I'm like, I'm officially old because I'm not feeling what you're doing and what you're listening to right now. How about we listen to some of this? And I saw the interview that you guys did with Tom Brown. And I told my son, and I'm like, Jamaica Funk, Thighs High. Right. He knows these songs just because they are regularly listened to in my house.
Yes, sir.
And when you listen to music today, I mean, I don't want to sound old, but it just seems like the passion is not there. And I think with the music, the funk from the 70s, I mean, people had something to say. They had something that they wanted to express. And now it's almost like you're making it as a product, almost as a commodity. You're not. It is not something that came from your soul that someone recognized and say you got something. I think we got the making of a hit. They go in looking to make a hit,
Right.
and I think the bar just got progressively lowered as to what can be classified as a hit. And people don't have the time to appreciate it. I'm not sure it's a problem. Hopefully we can come back from wherever we are.
Well, you know, one of the Funk Center's main goals is to bring music instruction back to the schools, especially the inner city schools.
Yes.
So if there's any reason why we have not progressed further along than we are now, don't get me wrong, if you go on YouTube and you hook up or look for some of these new indie groups,
Yeah.
they got some pretty nice funk out there.
Yeah.
So it's some kids that have been paying attention and they have been learning how to play instruments, but the other side of that is by taking music instruction out of the inner city schools, which was the major advantage here in Dayton, Ohio, in that we had music instruction starting in his, second and third grade and on. So there was a chance to be molded and to have that mind, sort of geared towards and deductively reason through everything, and didn't just have to necessarily be music, but it carried over like we were talking earlier.
Yeah, it carries on into so many other things.
Science,
Yeah.
math, you name it. Now let's get back on the Funk Center side for just a second.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you have a role in the Funk Center as of to date?
As of to date, no, I do not. But I am open to any and all possibilities.
Oh, we will be getting in touch with you. Yeah, now that you're here at least
Yeah.
once a week, I'm looking forward to this. So, how will you use your current position to help the skills or further along the Funk Center's mission?
Well, I mean, I think I attribute a great degree, a great amount of the success that I've attained to music. My ability to think, you mentioned deductively, to be able to come to conclusions, the correct conclusions, I attribute that strictly to music.
Yes, sir.
To be able to sit and think as to how something would work, to figure out where a groove may sound like it started, so then where would it go from here?
Before
And
you
you can
get
do
there.
that in your mind.
Yes, sir.
And it's an exercise. It's like chess
Yes.
that you can play by yourself, and you don't even need
You
pieces.
don't need pieces.
You can do it without your instrument, but with your instrument, you could stay up all day and night. I mean, you could lose sleep and not even be tired.
Not be tired.
And what you gain cannot be taken away. It's not material. It's knowledge that will be able to be applied in so many other aspects of your life. It will grow. It will blossom. It's not something that you need to try to find. It's in there. It'll surface.
That you earned and learned on your own, which for us as humans, we have a greater ability to retain that. Now, so let's get back on the other side. So the sound was defining at the time, and it's still used today, as we were saying. But, like the Wright brothers, no one knows that funk music actually originated here in the city of Dayton. Which, coming from the outside, how would you explain that?
I think the proof is in the pudding. I think to be able to show people, to get the word out. I mean, there's all types of knowledge out there, but when you don't have it, it may as well not exist. So to get out there and let it be known, to share that information, what I was trying to do today, and we weren't able to orchestrate it, it just happens to be James Jamerson's birthday today. This is the day that Motown's original funk brother, bass player, the first one to put it down, like for I'll Be There, for the Four Tops.
Right.
Today is his birthday. So as I'm coming from Detroit, I'm Facebook friends with James Jamerson's daughter. And she's like, well, can you send a shout out to my dad? She sent that to me this morning. I didn't see it until I was driving to Dayton. And as I'm driving, I'm thinking, bam, there's a connection. For me to be able to tell them at work, not only is this James Jamerson's birthday, not only is he a funk brother, but I am in the capital of funk. I am where it all started. This is Mecca. This is funk Mecca. So to be able to share that with the people up there who don't know, I think a lot of people would be enlightened to go, well, wow. And so once you start to look at the population to think, Okay, well, let's see how big this area is. All those groups came from Dayton? Is it in the water? I don't know.
Marshall Jones said it's in the water.
Is it in the water?
It's in the water.
It's got to be something.
He said it's the sweat off God's feet. So now you said something. So you use social media.
Yeah, I mean, it's a way of networking with people. It's a way of, just staying in touch.
So how would you use your social media status to further along the Funk Center's goals?
I mean, that would be easy. I mean, anything that you have coming up, I mean, what we do with the station is as you have promotional or events or whatever, you put it out there and it's just like a seed. It's just like music itself. I mean, once you transmit, someone will receive.
And vice versa. Anything that we can do for you in the future.
Sure.
From your company standpoint, you send it right to us and we'll put it right on our Facebook page or Tumblr page or Twitter page or whatever other, social or media devices we use. Because as you see, in our banner, we've got the Funk Center.
Yeah, I saw that.
Everything.
You got everything represented.
We got everything covered.
Yeah.
Just type in the Funk Center one word and you come right to us. That took a little while to build too. In the beginning, you would miss us. You wouldn't find us. You'd actually have to dig. Now, in your opinion, then, does the Funk Music Hall of Fame and Exhibition Center, the museum, belong here in Dayton, Ohio?
Without a doubt.
There you go.
Without a doubt. I mean, I think it belongs here just because not only do we become nostalgic as we get further away from, the defining moments of our lives, but unfortunately, sometimes we forget. And things change. And to be able to, I mean, the reason why you want history, especially as an African American, is to see who we are and what we are capable of. Because what you may see right now could give you the wrong impression. So to be able to say, this is what this area is about. This is what we can do. This is what we've done. This is what we can do again. Not only is this our history, this is our legacy. And you have an opportunity to share in that.
And build on it.
Yes.
And I see you're very passionate about it, especially not to be a Daytonian, and we appreciate that. So we want to thank your parents too.
Well, you know what?
Growing
up in Pittsburgh, Dayton was like this was like the vacation, the vacation spot. I got I got an aunt that grew up in Dayton View. I got cousins that are still here, and I came here a couple of times. I remember one time I ran into Monkey Bars. My mother let me stay for Easter break. We was playing football, and I'm thinking I'm Lynn Swan, and ran right into some Monkey Bars, and my eyes were swollen shut. And we were scared what my mother would do once I got home. Like, hopefully your face is back to normal by the time you get back. So to end up here, my mother, God bless her soul, she passed away a couple of years ago, but she got a chance to see me here when I worked at 2245.
Okay.
And she saw my name on a banner. And so after we got done, I'm like, so what you think? It's like, baby, you did a good job, but they spelling your name wrong. She only had one L in my name. I added the second L because I thought she didn't know how to spell it. Malcolm X. My middle name is X. So Malcolm X's name is Malcolm.
Yes,
and so I just figured she, maybe during the birthing process, it was all the excitement going on. Maybe she forgot an L. I'm going to add that. She goes, no, I wanted you to be your own man, but I wanted to name you after a great man, but it still allow you to be yourself. So when I was in Birmingham, Alabama, she had a stroke and I was trying to get back to Pittsburgh. And I had two offers here in Cincinnati at WXYZ. And the guy here that hired me, his name was Pat. My aunt's name is Pat. I mean, there was, I'm in the serendipitous occurrences. And as I looked at the math, I'm like, wow, there's something here.
There was no choice.
Yeah, and this is Mama's town. I mean, it just fell into place.
Wow, thank you for sharing that. Now, after all is said and done, okay, and people come from miles around, this is in the future when this actual facility is built. What kind of experience would you like to see them walk away with when exiting the Funk Center?
If we're talking about kids, I would like them to want an instrument. I would like them to want to pursue music, mimic somebody, feel something tear up as they hear it, because the funk, it has the ability. I mean, you know, you listen to some songs, and you know, I know that we've been riding, and I'm, you know, I'm well enough, and it isn't that it is sad.
No.
It is. Can you feel that? I mean, is my hair growing? I mean, because you feel it.
You're preaching to the choir.
In your bones.
Yes, sir.
And so I would like for the kids to walk away somehow inspired the same way they would if they went and saw airplanes and thought, I want to be a pilot. I want them to see and feel and know what went on and think.
Yeah.
Because we all have a song in our soul and in our mind and our hearts. And to be able to release it and have some way, an outlet, is priceless.
And well, you know, that's one of the major components with the Funk Center is music instruction.
Yes.
That it is our intention and it is our mission to bring music instruction back to our children. Red, green, black, white, or yellow. We're not talking about a color thing. We're talking about children.
It's necessary.
So that they can, like we were saying earlier, learn how to deductively reason, learn how to analyze things beforehand, learn how to stay out of trouble, learn how to, on their own, learn and not require the supervision of someone telling them what to do all the time. Because eventually when we get older, we don't listen anyway.
Yeah. And it's just like math. Once you know the fundamentals, you can do anything.
Anything.
I mean, there can be an equation that's, 10 numbers long. But once you know the process,
Sir.
you have the building blocks. And once you know math or
step.
once you know music, you have the ability to take that into so many directions. The apartment that I have up in Detroit, I don't have cable. I got a computer and I got my 5-string. I got my fretless right there. I got an acoustic. I got a little keyboard. I got GarageBand.
Fun times.
That's all I need.
That's all you need.
That's all you
To
need.
express yourself.
And as I go to get up for work, I want my mind at, as I like to say, freeway speed.
Yes, sir.
So I can't get to work and I got the cobweb still.
Wow.
So I learned Thomas the Train so that I could play for my now 8-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
So I got the TV show Fake Book. And I charted it out as, the keys and, they got the notes in there. So I don't read sheet music that well.
That's awesome.
But I know that if it's in, let's say, C and there's a C, that's 1. D is 2, E is 3. And so as I look,
Yes,
I get I Xerox it so I don't mess up my sheet music. And I take my pencil and I write the numbers down, and I don't have it in tablature. I know the feel, I know the song, and I play through it, and it'll take me far longer than I wish it did, but I get it.
Well, Malcolm, it sounds like you have more than just a general understanding of music theory, and you're passing it on.
And I would like that to be my gift to my kids. Surely I like to leave them riches. But the ability to make your own riches is worth far more. What is it? You can give a man, you can feed a man, you feed him once. Give him a fish, you feed him once. Teach him how to fish, you feed him for the rest of his life.
Now, you mentioned something back in the beginning of this interview that's just coming back to me. You used to be in a band.
Yeah.
Playing an instrument.
Yep.
The bass.
Yep.
All right, so I can ask you this question. What is your fondest memory of when you were playing music? Keep it clean, because you got your sons here. Keep it clean, because your sons
My fondest
here.
memory.
Your fondest memory of when you were playing.
The band we had, I was in 2 different bands. The second band was Big Papa Boogie. We had a gig on Lake Superior. We're in Wisconsin, and we were at an Indian casino. And these guys weren't born, and it was just my daughter. And my wife, they came up with us. And for what we made, I came home with $350. But we rented a van. We had a room up there for the weekend on the casino, on the reservation, on the casino property. We had the time of our lives, and I came back with $350
doing it.
And that was probably that. I mean, I felt like that was free money. And we had the time of our lives as we were on stage.
Wow.
and then walked away. And I'm sure
with some money.
I'm sure they all made more than me. But I had $350. You know what I mean?
And the time
I was
of your life.
richer,
Right.
had the time of my life. My wife and kids are there.
Good times.
So, I mean, I would say, if not that one, 1999. Before 2000, we had a gig outside Green Bay. And to bring in the, at that time, I'm sure you remember, it was supposed to be pandemonium. It was,
Right.
The world was going to come to an
Y2K,
end, and the computers were going to shut down.
Yes.
And we're jamming. I really don't know what's happening out there. We'll find that all out when we leave. Of course, it's always a long ride home and a long when you're packing all this stuff up. Everybody's jamming with you when you got the gig going. But afterwards, it's lonely packing up everything. But it was 1999, 2000. I started 1999, 2000. I left. So that was excellent.
Wow.
But I mean, there are just so many memories, and it wasn't even about the money or whatever. It was the camaraderie.
Yes, sir.
I remember having my bass strung improperly. The guy, CJ Mack in the Voodoo Child band is who we were, the first band.
Mm-hmm.
He took my bass from me on stage and start taking the strings off. I mean, this is in the middle of the gig. I mean, he was...
Set. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, and I remember the guy that I replaced who could shred it. And I'm like, I can't do that. And he's like, well, that's the reason he ain't here. Because he don't work with what we're doing. Mm-hmm. It's all about feel. It's about the whole being worth more than the sum of his parts. And this guy want to be the show. We all the show. And he's trying to take the spotlight. So that was the reason he wasn't there. So that also taught me a lesson that sometimes less is more. Especially on bass.
Sure.
You can get crazy, but that ain't what the song is about.
Gotta leave the space for everybody else to expose themselves and employ themselves and put themselves in the music as an individual for just that short amount of time.
Yeah.
And then come back. Wow, this has been
Tension and release.
This has been amazing. So this has been round one, because round two is gonna be totally different. So we got you a little bit background on the Funk Center. We surely do appreciate your time in taking out your busy schedule
Pleasure's
to accommodate
mine.
us as we chronicle individuals' music experiences in this phenomenon that we call funk. Thank you much, Mr. Malcolm.
Thank you.
And I look forward to round number 2.
All right, I'm here.
I know. Cool.